in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, here we are. I just can't believe what I saw today, again, out of the Secretary of War, the Secretary of Defensiveness. What the hell is up with that guy? The arrogance, the denialism, the indignation. How dare you ask me a question? Don't worry about it. No specifics. Can't handle anything about strategy. You know, he's not on Fox and Friends anymore. He is so out of his depth. It is an embarrassment. There's what it means to me is President Trump has one less guy he can talk to, right? He's got to find people somewhere else. Now, President Trump has a wide circle of advisors. He keeps in touch with a lot of people, right? You know, just because you're the Secretary of War doesn't mean he's going to listen to you. And knowing Trump the way I know Trump, I'm pretty sure he has figured out that Hegseth is a faker. You can see right through Hegseth. He stinks at this job. And it's too bad, too. It really is. You know, I was opposed to him from the get-go, but once he got the job, I'm like, okay, I've said my piece, and I wish him all the best, and I'm going to support him, and to the extent that I can, you know, I'm going to have a wait and see as well. And let's see how this all works out. Well, it has not worked out. There were some things that I liked early on. He gave a speech at Quantico, and it was really something else. You know, to change the culture of the military, and the military needs a culture change, you have to get in people's faces. It may not always be elegant. It may not always be, you know, slick or whatever. You got to get a little bit red in the face. You got to make people angry, make people upset. You got to say some hard truths, and he did that. He was going off about woke in the military. Now, everybody knows, anybody with any sense knows that woke is wrong, right? But then he started to talk about something else, the culture of the military, the risk-averse nature of the military. And I'm like, wow, nobody has talked about this since this started. Nobody has talked about this in 50 years. I haven't heard anything like this. And it was like, man, wait a second. Stop everything. Stop everything. In a jaw-dropping development, Japan, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands pledging support for securing the Strait of Hormuz, reversing their earlier refusals. How about that one? All right. All right. I like it. I like it. Step in the right direction. Is that what? No, I don't think he had anything to do with it. How about that? This is positive. Then again, I think they're just going to stop being defiant. We don't want or need their ships in that Strait of Hormuz. I think their indication, the fact that they said they're willing to help is a very good sign. But I don't know. I don't think we want those ships in the... This goes to General Kane and others like that. All right, whatever they come up with, I'll be fine with it. And that's... General Kane should be doing most of the talking. And having said that, you know, we love our military. And when they fall, when they're killed, we do it right. Right? We support the families, and almost everybody supports the troops, right? And those beautiful, dignified transfers that take place. Unfortunately, I see people trying to set the conditions where you hide behind those families. You hide behind those troops. You try to create a dynamic that raising questions about the war, its tactics, its strategy, how we're going to win it, what should we be doing, what should we not be doing. You try to turn those questions, legitimate questions, into attacks on our service members and attacks on our fallen service members. You know, it's very cynical. I don't like it. I've seen it before, and it's gross. It creeps me out. Just like that other guy creeps me out. Joe Kent. Hey, do me a favor, Justin. This is something else that I found very revealing today. Hegseth was talking about the job that he's doing at night. And I figure, okay, he's updating, he's being updated. He's planning things with Kane. No, what was he doing? He was updating a speech. He said it out loud. All right, Jonas, you take a look at this one, okay? He was giving a tour of the Pentagon to his son. He's writing his remarks for the next day. First of all, you got about 50 speech writers who can handle that for you. And at this point, I think you should be pretty good at that. I think you could just walk in and start talking. Instead, he walked in and he read in his very halting, kind of weird way and started talking about the press and how they're not telling the truth. Well, in a weird way, you guys haven't been telling the truth in that you're not offering a lot of information. You've been vague. Now, maybe there's a reason for that. There often is in warfare. I understand, and the people understand you can't say everything that you know. But there was something very unnecessarily opaque. How's that for the phrase? Unnecessarily opaque. Cloudy. Murky. Weird. Are we ready? Here it is with the 13-year-old son and the rest. Go ahead.
My 13-year-old son popped into my office last night while I was editing these remarks. He asked about the war and the families I met at Dover. And I looked at him and I said, they died for you, son, so that your generation doesn't have to deal with a nuclear Iran. It's the truth. And they did. So to the families who said, finish this, we will. And I say the same to every American who wants peace through strength. May Almighty God continue to bless our troops in this fight. And again, to the American people, please pray for them. Every day, on bended knee, with your family, in your schools, in your churches, in the name of Jesus Christ.
How can we quarrel with the prayer? Some of it's appropriate, but that's all there is from this guy. It's performative. It's strange. It's unprofessional. It doesn't work. Does everybody agree with me? No. And that's fine. We're not supposed to agree on everything. The podcasters really hate that. Hard to tell, actually. See, I'm in this position where I support the war, but I'm really growing increasingly frustrated with the Secretary of War. This is just not professional behavior. This is not the way you're supposed to behave. I got one more.
That is overwhelming force applied with precision. And again, today will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. As I've said from day one, our capabilities continue to build. Iran's continue to degrade. We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above.
Death and destruction from above. Tough talk. And can feel good when you're talking tough. But there's supposed to be a little bit of a detachment. You have to have a detachment from this. You let the offensive operations speak for themselves. Talk softly and carry a big stick, you know? You actually hear President Trump speak almost graciously about them. If they want to do this, then that'd be great. We'd love to help them. But they have to understand and with this one, it's significantly different. Do you understand? Am I nitpicking? Maybe. But I just remember Rumsfeld. He's reminding me of Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld. Arrogant, indignant. For 5 years, he was in a state of denial. Weapons of mass destruction. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. When we were losing. And ultimately, how many people died because we wanted Rumsfeld to save face? Is that harsh? Yeah. But I don't care. That's the way it is. I And I don't like the names of the, I just don't like the dead being brought into the political. Did their families really say that? Did they? You always have some people join the military to get away from their families. Not everybody's on the same page. Cut 2. Joe Biden did not know how to handle these situations. Joe Biden did not know. Yesterday was the dignified transfer. Joe was supposed to be so empathetic, right? He was supposed to understand everybody. He didn't, and he couldn't. Cut 2, if you don't mind. Cut 2. He pissed off everybody he touched.
And there couldn't be anything more disgusting and cowardly than the way you have treated us. You are a disgrace to this nation. You have no business having ultimate command over our military, and I regret not saying that to your face when I had the opportunity in Dover. While I stood there on the tarmac, watching you check your watch over and over again, all I wanted to do was shout out, "It's 2:30."
How about that? And then behind the scenes, when he would meet with the families, he just said the wrong thing constantly. Just amazing. They say this war is a bad war. And they also said that the Iraq war was a good war. They say the Ukraine war is a beautiful, great war. They say that President Trump is a monster, doesn't, and they said that Joe Biden is Mr. Empathy. They're always wrong about everything. How does this sound as Mr. Empathy? He managed to make the Gold Star family so mad that they went public while he was still president. Cut 1.
He just talked about his son and said how much he knows or he understands how do we feel because he lost his kid and he didn't know how we feel because he was there with his son when he passed. We didn't have that privilege. We receive our kids in a casket. I just feel so disrespectful by that man because it was all about him.
All about him. But Joe's just Joe. Joe's just Joe. You have a little other thing to say here about Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe. Those guys are superstars in every way. And Tulsi Gabbard was so professional. Her answers were perfect, even when they tried to entrap her and try to make her and the Trump administration look bad. This is John Ossoff. He's a Democrat from Georgia, senator, running for re-election. Very competitive race down there. He's in trouble. So this is how he tries to get some action going on the internet. Cut 3.
That as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes?
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Okay. He thinks the perfect trap has been laid. Wrong. Next cut. 4. Please go.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president
here's the problem.
based on a volume of information
it is precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely.
So it's very interesting and very sophisticated that Tulsi Gabbard handled it that way. The intelligence community, whatever that is, right? It means different things to different people. For me, it means 57 agencies, probably 53 of which are totally unnecessary and are out there to undermine democracy, undermine the elected. It's not up to them to decide when we go to war. We don't just take no, it doesn't work. That's up to the president. We have vested in him the power. He was elected. It's his judgment. Where can you find the intelligence community? In the Constitution. This is his. It's up to him. And for Tulsi to recognize that, how she did, the whole thing was spectacular. Congratulations, Madam Director. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
How many times have you been to Iraq? You ever been to Iraq? No? Huh. How about you over there? You haven't been to Iraq? How about that? Huh. How can you guys not have been to Iraq? Listen to these guys. I mean, these guys are hard as hell. Listen to how many times these politicians have been to Iraq. Cut 7.
I just returned from my 5th visit to Iraq.
Now I'm on my 6th visit to Iraq.
This is actually the 14th trip to Iraq. I first came up with the Marines in 2003.
I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan 35 times.
I've been in and out of Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq. I'm in Iraq over 50 times, 48 times.
And I served 2 combat tours in Iraq.
I served 3 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan as a paratrooper and an Army Ranger.
Oh, yeah? Well, Joe Kent has been to Iraq 11 times. He's got all you bastards beat 11 times. I mean, that's a lot of times, right? Let's see here. Joe Kent, how many times were you in a combat zone? Cut 6.
As somebody who fought myself 11 combat deployments, I spent most of my 20s and 30s in Iraq. Throughout 11 combat deployments, I saw the failures of the government establishment. I had the honor of serving our country for a little over 20 years as a Green Beret, went to combat 11 times.
Mr. Kent has 20 years of military service and 11 combat deployments.
So what? And oh, by the way, it's an exaggeration, all right? It sounds far more impressive than it is, and then again, that's what it's supposed to do, all right? Don't ever be impressed by that, please.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, I usually don't know who the head of NATO is in terms of who's the director of it. There's a guy by the name of Rutte, R-U-T-T-E. I've noticed him about a year ago, and he's kind of a pro-Trump guy in his own way. And he has like an enthusiasm and an affection for Trump. And this is actually kind of a big deal. It looks like NATO is coming out in favor of this operation that America is leading in Iran. And that gives me a good feeling, to be honest. Even if it's token support, it's good. It's good for us. It's better to do this with friends. Okay. Now listen to this guy. His name is he's a Secretary General of that's what they call him, the Secretary General of NATO. Hey, what does NATO stand for? Anybody? You guys know? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Write it down. North Atlantic. I mean, technically, we're all in the North Atlantic, right? I mean, NATO members, right? North Atlantic doesn't seem like I love the North Atlantic region, don't you? Nobody thinks of it that way. But they did back when they started NATO in the 50s, I guess. Hit it, please.
In my contacts with allies all over NATO territory, what I'm sensing and hearing is that we all agree, as we always did, that it was crucial for Iran not to get its hands on a nuclear capability, a ballistic missile capability, and what the US is doing at the moment is degrading that capability of Iran, and I think that's very important. This is important for European security, for the Middle East. It is vital for Israel itself. Then when it comes to the Hormuz Strait, everybody agrees. This strait cannot stay closed. It has to open up again as soon as possible. This is crucial for world economy. In my context with allies are seeing is that they are intensely discussing amongst each other with the United States and amongst each other the best way forward to tackle this huge security issue. And let me add to that, that I'm confident that allies, as always, will do everything in support of our shared interest.
Well, that just takes some of the edge off, folks. It really does. May not sound like the biggest thing in the world, but it's significant. Thank you, Mark Root, R-U-T-T-E. Let's buy him a Jägermeister or whatever he drinks. Good for him. Did not see that one coming. I am relieved. It's very cool. Oh, by the way, the Japanese prime minister was sitting with President Trump this morning, and things got a little bit awkward. You know, the Japanese are a funny crew, right? Very unique culture. And they're kind of weird in a good way, but sometimes not. I remember I was over in Iraq, actually, and there was this aid group. And they happened to be a bunch of Japanese people, and they were trying to help out refugees or war wounded, something like that. And they were doing their thing, and they got kidnapped. They got kidnapped, and they were held hostage. And terrifying videos were released. You know, these insurgents had knives to their necks, and they went through hell. Unfortunately, I don't remember if they were rescued or released or ransom was paid, but they were released, and they go back to Japan. And then I'm in Iraq, and I see all this unfold on TV. And back then, we watched a lot of BBC and CNN and Fox, but a lot of times BBC. And they showed the reception that the Japanese hostages got when they went back to Japan. And you know what happened? They were throwing rocks at them. They get off the plane, and they covered their faces like, you know, witnesses, you know, like somebody who just got arrested and doesn't want to be seen. It was like that. And I asked this Japanese person I knew, what the hell is going on over there? What's the big deal? Aren't they heroes? He said, no, you don't understand. The attitude in Japan is you shouldn't have been there in the first place. You went looking for trouble and you found some. How about that? How about that for a very different and unusual and, yes, foreign culture? President Trump in the Oval Office this morning. Go.
We went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? He's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay, one more for the Prime Minister.
Mr. President.
Are you good for the Prime Minister?
Yes.
Go ahead, for the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Japan's JJ Press. Japan's biggest concern is China. Now they're giving us export control and very harsh terms to criticize us.
Oh, that was good. I haven't heard a Pearl Harbor joke in a long time, and I certainly haven't heard one in front of the Japanese Prime Minister. All right, there's another one, please.
Potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region.
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000.
Huh. Yeah, there's all kinds of reporting out there that they are contemplating a major footprint, boots on the ground. Reuters has the story. They're obviously thinking about it. It's on the table. Look, it's always on the table. You never remove these things from consideration. It seems like it would be more in active consideration. I certainly hope it doesn't get to that point. Then again, maybe it has to. You know, just because Rumsfeld screwed up Afghanistan and Iraq doesn't mean we can never put boots on the ground again. That's one of the many legacies of that war, right? One of the very negative legacies. It's like there's such a reluctance now to commit American power. And sometimes you may have to do that. Well, we don't want another Iraq. Yeah, of course we don't. All right. The whole damn war was based on faulty suppositions, right? Weapons of mass destruction and all that stuff. So that's a bad takeaway. And it's a legacy, again, of Iraq invading the wrong country. Yes, Michael, what is it? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Hello.
Good afternoon. I just went to my local gas station, and I always pay cash. I never use my credit card. And I went out to start to pump the gas, and I noticed it was 18 cents. The machine was registering above the listed price for premium gasoline. I went inside to complain, and the guy gave me a hard time, but I just want to let you know that your listeners should be very vigilant about going to the gas station and what the prices are being charged.
Yeah. Could you say that again, please? What the hell happened? They ripped you off? They charged you too much?
They didn't. I caught it, so I went in, paid for the cash price. Not only did it show on the machine the credit card price, but another 7 cents higher. So I went and I complained. I just called up the 311 and filed an official complaint with the Consumer Affairs Bureau.
What'd they say when you said you saw this? What'd they say?
The guy was embarrassed. He turned beet red.
Oh, you think you did it on purpose?
Sure they did.
Rip off. This is in Rockaway? Where the hell was this?
Yeah, Rockaway. I said, give me back my $20.
You mean you took all your money back?
That is correct.
So you got away with free gas?
No, I didn't. I didn't gas up. I put the thing back on. I went in. I said, give me back my $20.
All right,
never steal free gas.
Well, good for you. I'm glad it worked out. I'm not exactly sure exactly what happened, but how did it? All right, so you put the damn thing in the car, and what did you notice again? Tell me what happened.
So the price was posted at a certain price, and I go in and I pay cash, which is a lower price. I come out to pump the gas, and not only does it show the credit card price, but 7 cents higher on the machine. The real price of the gas on the machine was registering 18 cents higher than the cash price.
So you had
to
figure that out. You had to start pumping gas, right?
No, I didn't. I just started to set it, and the price came up, and it didn't adjust to the cash price.
Because I got to say, the only thing I'm looking for when I turn on the gas after I give the guy cash, and by the way, why aren't you paying with your card at the pump? You could do it easier. But anyway, I turn the thing on, right? I take the thing out, and then I wait for it to go to zero. I want it all to zero out. That's the only thing I notice. And the price to me is always on the plastic thing at the top.
No, it's registered on the machine, shows you the price that you're paying per gallon.
All right. Well, I like how you spotted all this stuff, and it was 7 cents higher than the credit card charge, right?
No, 18 cents.
18 cents higher than the credit card charge, right?
Correct.
All right. And there's a big difference between credit card and cash sometimes. That's pretty wild, dude. I'm glad you caught it. You know what you should do also? I learned this. I won't say who I learned it from, but you got to take a very good look at your receipt, at your bill at the restaurant, right? When they bring you the bill, they put all kinds of stuff in there if you're not careful. I didn't order this. I didn't order that. What the hell's this? You know, you gotta really look at that. They're counting on you to do what I often do. I just give the card to the guy. I don't even look at it. Partly because it's easier for me to deal with that way. I don't know what it is. I don't like looking. Yeah, that's the thing I got to get over. I appreciate it, pal. Thank you very much. Hey, if you don't mind, we're gonna play this statement from Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was there this morning. He leans into the facts. That's good. I like that about Dan Kane. All right? Facts. Tell us what the hell is going on. Now, he does get a little emotional, too. Hit it, Carlos, if you don't mind, please. Ah, my goodness gracious. My Dan Kane shot's not ready. That's okay. Jonas, is my Dan Kane shot ready, please? Dan Kane, get this. He actually left the military. He actually left the military for a couple of years. This is such a surprise that he would be brought back. He was only a 3-star general. He leaped over about 75 generals to get this job, which I love, oh, by the way. My dad was a 2-star general at the NYPD, a 2-star chief. And what did they do? They promoted him over all the other chiefs and made him the first deputy police commissioner. How about that one? Because he was that good. And my sense is Dan Kane is that good. He is born for this job. And you know what you need in this job to really do it well? A little bit of humility. This Hegseth guy and Rumsfeld, the two of them, peas on a freaking pod. He's got to settle the hell down and stick to the facts, stick to, I don't know, too much indignation, too much meanness, too much. You could say, well, the Secretary of War is supposed to be mean. I like that. He's also supposed to be professional, right? The questions are legitimate questions. Not every question is from lazy, mazy, crazy Hirono from Hawaii. These are legitimate questions from legitimate people. Hell, everybody in the room now is from conservative media. You got Gateway Pundit in there. You got OAN. You got, what's that other thing called? It's all conservative media. A lot of the regular media say, we don't want to come anymore because you make us sign this document. Go ahead.
U.S. CENTCOM remains on plan to achieve our military objectives and remain unrelenting in our pursuit of Iranian missile capabilities, UAV capabilities, and their Navy, and as the Secretary said, their industrial base. Each day we continue to attack deeper into Iranian territory. As reported by U.S. Central Command yesterday, the U.S. military dropped 5,000-pound penetrator weapons into underground storage facilities, storing coastal defense cruise missiles and other support equipment. These weapons are bespokely designed to get through concrete and/or rocks and function after penetrating those barriers. We continue to hunt and kill mine storage facilities and naval ammunition depots. We continue to hunt and kill afloat assets, including more than 120 vessels and 44 mine layers, and the pressure will continue. We're flying further to the east now and penetrating deeper into Iranian airspace to hunt and kill one-way attack garrisons, destroying Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders. The A-10 Warthog is now in the fight across the southern flank and is hunting and killing fast attack watercraft in the Straits of Hormuz. In addition, AH-64 Apaches have joined the fight on the southern flank, and they continue to work on the southern side, and that includes some of our allies who are using Apaches to handle one-way attack drones. In Iraq, AH-6 continue to work on the southern side, and that includes some of our allies who are using Apaches to handle one-way attack drones. In Iraq, AH-64s have been striking against Iranian-aligned militia groups to make sure that we suppress any threat in Iraq against U.S. forces or U.S. interests. And we remain focused on pursuit of any platform that Iran could field to harm Americans or our partners. Last Friday, Admiral Cooper and the CENTCOM team conducted precision strikes against more than 90 targets on Karg Island, which included all of their military-only infrastructure, which included air defenses, naval base, mine storage, and deployment facilities. And as the Secretary mentioned, we continue to strike against Iran's defense industrial base, and will continue to do so.
All right. That's the kind of stuff I like. Cool. Professional, on point. Good job, General Kane. Hey, by the way, experts say this flu season is the worst we've seen in years. Either way, you know how this goes. Every year, someone in my family gets sick, then everyone gets sick, and suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor or stuck waiting in a crowded urgent care. But not this year. I have been ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medications and antibiotics like a generic Z-Pack to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, ear infections, prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and they've got some ivermectin in there. It is simple. Match your symptoms in the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Okay, that's a great deal right there. Start treatment early, feel better faster. No waiting rooms, no pharmacy lines. This happens when you get sick. What do you do? It's all solved in advance. I love it. I love my medical emergency kit, and you should get one too. And I got you $45 off when you use my code Greg. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's urgentcarekit.com/Greg. Promo code Greg.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, welcome back. This, what do you call it, a podcast. Tucker Carlson had Joe Kent on, and the damn thing is wild as hell. And Joe Kent, I can totally see why he did not, I don't think he should have been in government. He wasn't ready for that role. He has a childlike view of the world. I'm also hearing that he was under investigation for leaking stuff. I mean, he's saying stuff right here. Probably technically he's still a federal employee. Usually that stuff remains in effect. He actually accumulated terminal leave, I'm sure. I wonder what his current status is. There are people out there who think that he might be in violation, that he may be discussing classified material in public. Not sure about that, but it certainly is possible. From what I have seen, I'm going to play that thing. Should we do a little of it now? Let's do a little bit, just a little bit, all right? It's the Tucker Carlson podcast. Go ahead, please, if you don't mind.
The current president was the subject of a near successful assassination attempt, recently.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to look into, very obviously, or divulge information that everyone knows they have. For example, the surveillance tape from the shooting range at which Thomas Crooks trained, because it would answer the question, was he training with somebody? And if so, who? They have that footage and they won't release it. What could possibly be the explanation for that?
I know what the result is. The result is people come to their own conclusions, and this is where crazy conspiracy theories come from. And then those conspiracy theories usually are easy to debunk or make the people saying them sound crazy. So then the actual question never gets answered.
Right? I'm sorry. Can you say that for people who haven't lived in Washington?
Stop for a second.
Okay,
this is all legitimate. Thomas Crooks, right? But it's just two dudes shooting the breeze on a podcast. They also get into, and the part where it gets, to me, a little bit weird is the matter of our good friend Charlie Kirk and his assassination and this whole idea that Israel did it. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't. I know that disappoints people. A lot of people who are really keyed up to not like Israel. You can be critical. I am critical of the Israeli government often. And I don't think being critical of the Israeli government is anti-Semitic. No way. But there is a strain of anti-Semitism that is out there, and it is growing, and it disgusts me, and it almost frightens me, all right? But I don't have time to be scared. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?